just a different nickname. He plays black. He's got a 1670 rating on Lichess. And here he is playing. Against move e4, he uses the Karakin defense. There's a nuance here, just so you understand. When we move to game 2 to 3, they're already for stronger levels, and those who are beginners for you, now this is the story. You watch, you try to find the best moves too, so you learn the technique of the game, some opening moves of stronger levels, and thus you are drawn there and grow. That's how it works. Even if you don't find all the moves, try to find as many as you can, argue and explain your decisions, and thus you will grow. Well, those who are at the level of 1500 to 1800, for you the very party in which you need to practice and understand how you will think in such defense Karakan. For those who don't even know it, its meaning is to play pawns on c6 and on d5.
The c'est 6 pawn protect, the des 5 pawn.
This is done in order to strengthen the center. That in the center was a strong fortified pawn. The knight goes to f3, and here the student
Knows the best move.
And please, let's start here. So what move would you make in this position, and why? Short and sweet.
The right move.
It's the bishop to g4. That's the best move. Now it's already known that my variation, the Nemtsev variation in the Karakan, is also possible in this case. But still the bishop on g4. I've played this way myself for many years. The thing is that in the Karakan defense, pawn c6 and d5 stand, yes, on these places, but the pawn on e6 does not. That is, the bishop is not closed, and the bishops exit outside the pawn chain before it closes. You have to open the other bishop. But to open it, you must not lock your other bishop, the white bishop. So you have to get out. And there's nowhere else to go but to zh4. There's nowhere else to go. Here's the right solution. Bishop on e2. What's your next strong move? In this position, the best move is the e6 move, as I said before. The bishop went out, the wicket closed behind him, and another bishop opened. That is, we try not only to strengthen the center and not only to apply knowledge of some opening moves, but also to make a decision based on the concepts that lie in this or that opening formation. It turns out that every opening variant has some ideas of its own. And so we build such a pawn wedge, but the bishop is already out of the chain and is not a prisoner inside such a chain. Next,
the knight goes to d4.
We look at the move, think, make our decision. Answer. White has made a knight move, and we must ask ourselves, why did they go here? Is there no threat? It turns out, if you look closely at the fact that the knight has gone and opened the bishop, there is a threat. The elephant wants to eat our elephant, and we have to ask ourselves, can we first destroy the threat? The answer, yes, we can.
Everybody, just make it.
My student made it, and of course he was right. So you see, simple straightforward solution. You don't have to retreat, you don't have to make a counterattack of some kind, you don't have to be clever. If you see a threat, destroy it, if there is such a simple possibility. Here they are, simple decision making.
Knight e2.
Please, your next strong move. The next strong move consists of a knight move to f6. When the pawn chain in the center is stable, you must move the pieces out. You should try to move the knights first, not the bishops. Why? Because the knight, which stands on the initial field, fires only 3 squares, and when it stands on f6 already 8 squares. This creates a threat of winning a pawn. And accordingly, the bishop which stands on f8, one way or another, he on a large diagonal is already shelled. Therefore, start with the knights.
So, white move d5. Your thinking, your way.
Every time, on every move, think how you would play. And I'll comment on each move. And you can pause the whole time, or directly online, if you have a dynamic view of the position.
You think fast, please.
But it's better to pause and think. Well, white made an attacking move, because we look at this move. That is, every time we look at the opponent's move, not just at our own moves. That is, you must pay attention to every move that your opponent makes. What do we see? We see that the pawn has attacked the knight. That's an obvious fact. Does the pawn wants to eat? Yes, it does. It's a threat.
Can we destroy the pawn?
No. Can we leave? Yes. usually goes inside his territory, attacking the pawn. You can go, of course, and in the center somewhere, and to the side, attacking. But a knight in a foreign territory can get caught or somehow compromised, so uncomfortably standing. So in such cases it is better still, if there is such an opportunity, to stand to their own and attack the pawn. White plays the pawn on d4. They have captured the center and protected their pawn. We cannot take the pawn on e5, because the pawn d beats the pawn.
What to do now?
Those who know how to play the Caracan defense, they know which move is the strongest here. And those who don't know the Caracan defense, just think of a move that you think is good here. A good and correct move is the c5 move. Immediately, the d4 pawn is instantly undermined. Why? Yes, you can develop the bishop. Well, for example, on e7, on b4, to prepare castling. Would that be bad? No, it won't. All the same, then we'll have to do something with the central cluster of pawns, some kind of undermining. And it turns out that we have in our defense Caracan typical subversion in such a closed, as if in the castle pawns stand. Yes, there are pawns white and black, and then it is necessary to try to destroy the center. Why is it advantageous to destroy the center? When you destroy the center, it means that some pawns are exchanged, go away, the center becomes free, and your pieces can fight, go somewhere.
Why should it be done?
Well, look, if we don't make any disruption, we don't go anywhere forward, how can we win? We have to break through into someone else's territory, so we can't do it without subversion, without breakthroughs. Direct logic. So we look for such a move if possible. Well, for example, playing c5, if for example pawn beats, then we can take in this case bishop without loss of tempo. Remember about the bishop e7 move? For example, after bishop e7 we will play c5, then here we have already taken bishop to e7, and now to c5, having lost a move. And here on the dc we immediately take. See how? That's why it's advantageous to play c5 right away. Bishop to e3. Now your next strong move. In this position you should either destroy the center at once, take cd, or develop pieces further. The knight's move c6 is equal to the move cd. So two moves were possible, both cd at once, and knight c6. Development of the attack. We wait, we do not move bishop, because we know that there can be, for example, a move dc still, in which we take away on c5. In one move does not lose momentum.
Castling.
White has castling. And now, please, your next strong move. The strong move here is the taking of the SD. If we move c5, what are we doing it for? To destroy the center at some point. That moment will come sooner or later. This is the best move right now. So the point is that the whole point of any disruption is to take in the exchange. And at some point, you have to do that. And here it specifically leads to a win. It wins a pawn. You see, the pawn on e5 is under attack, and the right move is to take this pawn with one of the knights. That's exactly what my student does. After f4, you need to make another strong move.
Please do it.
In this position, the correct move is to take the knight on d4. You could, of course, leave with the knight. But the thing is that if we go somewhere with the knight, there could be a potential for some kind of attack by white. So if you can destroy the opponent's pieces, exchange them, then it's advantageous. Let's think about why it's advantageous. Remember the principle we've already discussed, namely, the principle that when we have a material advantage, it's advantageous to exchange pieces. And why is that? Think about it. Imagine someone has one extra pawn. If we exchange all the pieces, we have a king and 7 pawns, and he has a king and 6 pawns, it's a pawn endgame. And 7 pawns to 6 wins 100 times out of 100. That's just 100% theory. That's why it's to our advantage to change pieces. That's it. We change.
Knight d4. Fait.
Here, please make your new strong move. My student made a small mistake here. And we'll discuss it now. The correct move is knight beats e2. We know this principle. We have an extra pawn and we benefit from piece exchanges.
Knight beats e2, queen e2, step with tempo. King on, castling.
It's a brilliant position. Black stands to win. Instead, the knight is c6. Why the retreat?
Let's think again from the other side.
Is there a threat? There is. We want to win our knight one way or another. And there is a threat.
We can destroy the threat. Yeah, we are back to some move again.
You see how it is? It's advantageous to destroy the threat, and it's advantageous to stretch the pieces. That's the way of correct thinking. It would seem, master it and apply it. So, knight to c6. Retreat is still in second place, but it was done. Queen to e1. Then the bishop went to TS5 with check. Here perhaps, you yourself would have seen this move too. But with the tempo to develop the bishop and prepare castling is always good. Such a move should be made here. Parking, of course, is necessary.